It has been a few days since I have recorded. In those days, I've got that 3D printed from the scan we took, met up to the dash, adjusted properly for materials, epoxied, screwed, mounted to the enclosure. We put some extra body filler over the curved part to make sure that's nice and smooth. I've done it over the screws, the staple holes, any type of imperfections in the sides. I have been playing with shapes for the side to figure out what we're doing so the side's not just flat. We got hooks made for the front, so we don't have to have any hardware up front. This side's nice and solid. Even this part's nice and solid. I am waiting on some 1/8" birch, which should be coming in today, which is why I made the stencil. And it'll fill in that gap. I was originally leaving that for foam, vinyl, whatever material I'm putting in there, but I think I left that a little too big. We're gonna be taking 1/8 out of that. I have mocked up or played around with designs for an armrest. Ooh. That's not final dimensions, but I think that should actually do right. So today I have templates for the side that I'm going to be routering out a channel, and then last night I 3D printed these. I still need to glue and bond these together. Here is the template for where the holes go. Here is a template for where I router. If you notice, template bigger than actual piece. That's for material. Because we're going to be doing this. Something like that. I'm going to try to sneak it in there between those screws. I want this suede. And I don't want it sticking off of the box, you know? That looks like an afterthought. I don't like that. I'm going to take the template. I'm going to router in a little bit of recess. I have to flush mount screws on the back to keep it nice and thin. And then I can get a suede insert on the side. We were talking about doing suede down the middle, but I think even though it is a show truck, I just don't want to get dirty. And in between, I'm going to be figuring something out for the armrest. Yesterday, I had to do some modifications because those hooks that I put on there almost soft locked me in the truck. I put the enclosure in, I was able to get the sides on, but if I tried to take them off, they kind of bound up on the air conditioning and the side of the dash. So without damaging the dash, I had to take both seats out in order to rotate the enclosure, in order to get this side off. In order to rotate it to get this side off so I could get the enclosure out. That has been remedied. Adjustments have been made. I think it'll even fit with material on it, which is crazy. So yeah, let's get to it. I do have a rough idea of where I want this stencil at. We're drawing shapes on this. Just to take the stencil off, we put it back on the enclosure just to see if we like the shape. And I know that looks a little weird. The seat's gonna block half of that. So if we mark it out on the other side, where I have the seat traced, you see it's going behind the cushion. So as much as I'd love to continue this all the way back, I don't think that would be worth it. The thing I'm worried about is when I router, if I'm touching, this side's actually, I'm gonna be clear on this side. But the other side, the screws are just a touch closer. So I'm hoping the router doesn't touch a screw. We already got an issue. This is the bit that I have. Now the plan is to let this piece of 1/4 inch ride on that bearing, or the bearing ride on this 1/4 inch, and let that dig through the wood. But as you can see, the depth of this versus the depth, I'm gonna be cutting a giant chunk out of that, and I don't need it. So what I'm gonna do is take this 1/4 inch, this piece of scrap 1/2 inch. I'm still using this as the router template instead of having a 1/4 inch thick one. So that's right, we're gonna have 3/4. So let's make some tooling first. This one has an oversized bearing. So it's been 2 hours. So originally I was going to use this yellow bit, and then I realized round edges, probably not going to work the greatest. So then I found this guy, and I was like, that'll work. Oversized bearing. So I'm either going to have to remake this or take that bearing off and replace it, which is fine because there's a little locking key right on there. That Allen, stripped out. Can't do anything about it. So bearing staying on there. Out of the 3 choices I have, I am going to use this guy. Flush trim. This is the bit I need, just too long. So if that bearing rides on top, I'm cutting in 3/8 of an inch or so. That's too much. So I have another scrap piece of wood. I'm gonna cut another piece out and extend that out further so I can use this bit. In conclusion, that Allen right there has ruined my day. After a trip to Lowe's, a trip to Home Depot, I'm back to where I am this morning. Back to where I was this morning. I know it doesn't seem like much, but the payoff will be huge. Tape changes money. Screws are on the edges here, and I'm hoping I don't hit them. That is below the surface. I'm gonna do that 14 more times, 13 more times. Let's go put this on the console, see if it fits. Oh, hey. This is gonna be a nightmare to do with a woofer in it. I know I didn't need to install this thing because I just put these on there, but I haven't seen it in the truck with the seat to make sure I like it. Also, it's just good practice to test fit every time. You never know if this is gonna hit the back. I'm still worried about trying to get these panels on with a headliner in, but I won't know until we have a headliner. A few hours have passed, and the birch extension pieces have been grafted in. The gap next to that looks much better. But now that I have the side birch piece on, I probably test fit it. So, test fit again. Test fit in there. I'll skip all of me struggling trying to get it in there. But as of right now, we're doing kind of final fitment. So, I just noticed that. I need to sand that down a little bit. I don't like the way that looks. I can feel it. The way the sides meet up, I think I want to take another 1/8 or so off of the top of that. That gap, see how that pushes out just a little closer to the dash? I think I'm going to sand that little hump down just a touch. I think the rest of the gap is okay. We are going to have stitching. So where the stitching bundles up back there, I want to make sure we have enough room between the dash. I'd rather have a consistent gap than squeaks. But other than that, sides are looking good. They don't really stick out. I know they're not the right color right now, but I think the composition will be appealing. So I'm mostly waiting on the interior guy, Frankie, to get over here and tell me what I did wrong. Other than final finish stuff before I can't do it. I think it looks pretty good. Oh yeah, I still need to make an armrest.